Hello everyone, Meg Loves Games here, and welcome back to another speed build in The Sims 3. Now this one here is, it's not a base game build. I know a lot of you are used to the base game builds that I've been doing recently. This one is going back to my old ways of doing speed builds with all the content that I had, and the reason for that is I was extremely sick over the weekend, and I got extremely homesick, so I ended up building the family home, the home that I basically grew up in. I thought it would be a really cool idea to spend some time building a bunch of the houses I grew up in. And, well, not necessarily just grew up in. I mean, the idea is to build maybe the house that I'm going to be moving into in July. The house that, well, the kind of flat, I suppose, that I've lived in this year. And possibly the one that I built that I was in last year. Although I did already build that, but I'd never uploaded it. But anyways, yeah, this one was kind of the first one I wanted to do, and I made it at like 5 in the morning when I couldn't sleep and I was feeling crazy homesick, and then I was frantically messaging my sister like, what colour are the walls now? Because it's changed a little bit since I lived there permanently, and I only really come back to visit every couple of months, so I always forget silly things like and you'll understand why when I start explaining some of the rooms, but as you can probably tell from now, it is a semi-detached house. I don't really do much with the other house, I suppose, although I do in one of the rooms, the room that is like meant to be my bedroom, well, was my bedroom, but in the opposite house I decided to build my bedroom from when I was growing up and when I actually started the YouTube channel, and there's a few videos where you can see my old bedroom, but it's after I built it I realised just how crazily similar I could make it. But yeah, the house is it's not huge, but it's reasonably spacious in places. This room here is the living room. It's got a nice fireplace in the centre that was newly replaced, actually. It was a really ugly one to begin with, and they've just managed to get it replaced, and they found a bloody good deal on it because my parents are great bargain hunters, so that's a great thing. The living room at the moment is going through some renovations of sorts. They've got new sofas, they've got the new fireplace, they've changed the curtains, they've bought the wallpaper, but they haven't changed the walls and floors yet. So it looks at the moment as if it's a little bit kind of off in terms of colours, but the plan is to do a kind of like a lime green and brown wallpaper in the two kind of spaces next to the fireplace, if that makes sense, the alcoves. They're going to be a green and brown kind of floral pattern, brown background with like these lime green flowers. Sounds disgusting, looks pretty nice. And then brown in the centre where the fireplace is. Excuse me, I just had a weird verbal attack, I suppose. And then just kind of like a nice dark beige colour on the rest of the walls. So yeah, and I don't know why, but we moved straight onto the dining room. I was trying to find the right colour for the wallpaper. It does change a little bit because this is one of the places where I messaged Molly at like 5 in the morning going, when you wake up, please send me a picture of the dining room because I can't remember what it looks like, because that's one of the ones that has changed since I was away. I came back at Christmas and it looked completely different, so that was fun. These are the new couches. One of them is a nice beigey colour, which reasonably well suits the living space, and then the other one's brown, which doesn't necessarily suit the kind of burgundy flooring that we've had in there since I was 8. And then over here we have like a little bit with the family computer, and there's like a shelving unit. It's not a bookshelf, which is why I use the one that looks a bit like it's got other things on it, and not only that, it's the most like the one that we have. Now, I was struggling for the TV because we have a massive 50-inch TV at home, so I was kind of wanting to do a slightly bigger TV, but it wasn't going to work because there isn't one in The Sims 3. God, I'm stuttering today. It's the illness. I'll blame the illness. And yeah, this room was very hard to use in terms of space, mainly because the walls in the dining room kind of go like there's like a what's the best way to describe it? There is kind of like an airing cupboard at one side, and then it kind of goes in a bit, and there's another wall. That's where a fireplace used to be when it was originally built in like the 30s or something, and then it goes in even more. And I couldn't really do that with the space that I had in The Sims 3, so I used bookcases to mimic it, because we do have a TV up on the wall there. So I was kind of trying to get that space to work. It isn't perfect because obviously, as you can see now, there's a bookshelf that kind of sticks out. There isn't a bit that sticks out in our house. It just goes round. But there is those shelves there. That's where my mum keeps all her craft stuff. She loves scrapbooking and card making and stuff like that. So she has that there. And yeah, and then we're sticking in the dining table, and there's a mirror just behind the dining table as well. I believe at this point I'm actually on Skype with my sister. I'm kind of, I kind of got her on Skype because I was working on this a little later on in the day, and she was there helping me along, trying to get it perfect, because obviously I couldn't be there, so I can't just go around and check up on it. And yeah, there's a random chair just sitting by the door over there, because we always have a spare chair, because the table is actually up against the window in our house, but it didn't quite look right with the way the Sims works, because obviously you can't make everything perfect in The Sims. It's just not going to work the way you'd like it to, so I just kind of did what I could and went with it like that. This is the point where I realised I don't have all my store content installed, and I wanted fruit bowls, because there are 2 lovely fruit bowls that sit on that little coffee table underneath the TV. Every Saturday when they go to every Saturday when they go shopping, they always bring back a ton of fruit, and it just sits in there, and it's basically the reason why my sisters spend their day in the dining room on a Saturday. They normally sit there eating all the grapes, because who doesn't love grapes? Really random, but yeah, I'm actually pretty pleased with how accurate this turns out, because the chairs are pretty similar to that. Besides the quilting effect, they are just kind of like a basic leather chair. And yeah, so all of this is fairly accurate. I use these curtains the entire way around the house because the windows are the same around the house, and it's the closest you could get to a European style of window. And I've also forgotten the games console table, because we have an Xbox sitting over there, and we have like all our skyboxes and stuff like that over there as well. But yeah, and you notice there's like a Klimt-esque photo of the fireplace. That's what it's called. Meg, brain fart. And yeah, we do actually have that. We have a print of the kiss above our fireplace. Molly is in absolute love with that. With Klimt and his work. And it just so happened that when my stepdad moved in, he had a print of it, so it went up in our living room. Now, this is the kitchen. It is absolutely bloody tiny. You'll notice that there's no fridge in there, and you'll see why soon. But yeah, there really isn't much space in here. It's tolerable. You can get 2 people in there roughly, so it'll do. That counter in the cabinet even in the corner doesn't have a corner on it. It's just a flat one, kind of like the one that you can see here. Underneath there is where we have our bins, and I forgot to put the bins in. And there's also a microwave kind of suspended on some like shelving brackets, which is weird, but it works. And the room is kind of a peary colour, and then all the like accents and stuff are in a red or a polka dot red, and you can't really get the style of that in The Sims 3 because it's all basically done in clutter. So yeah, it had to be left at kind of like a weird looking kitchen. And this is our outhouse. We have a one room which has the boiler in and a bunch of shelving. We keep a lot of dry store food out there and stuff like that. And the other one has our tumble dryer and two fridges, because we have two fridges, because when my stepdad moved in we decided to keep them both. So yeah, and this hallway, the stairs are actually an L shape, no, a U shape even, but it just wouldn't work in The Sims because, you know, that's how it is. So I stuck with spirals. It just made it a little bit easier. This is the bathroom. It's gonna look a bit weird because I put a bookshelf in here, and that sounds utterly weird, but it's because we have this massive shelving unit in there, and in Sims 4 we have shelving units for bathrooms and stuff, but we don't in The Sims 3 really. So I went with using the bookshelf because it's a very similar style, so it felt like felt like our home really. And one of the really cute things about our bathroom is that there is a pink wicker chair sitting in the corner. It's normally got a blue throw over it, so it fits with the room, but it was my mother's, and she's always had it since before I was even born. So yeah, and this is Molly's room. It used to be my room. When I moved out, it became her room because she shared with my sister for like 10 years, possibly. I'm taking snapshots now because I wanted to show Molly, because at this point I was like, I am kind of blown away by how similar this looks. So yeah, I spent a little bit of time on Google Earth as well, getting the outside right, which was quite funny. But yeah, I was just taking a few pictures. I had to get a picture of the wicker chair because, like I said, it's very historic in our family, kind of. And yeah, so Molly's room is lovely. It's absolutely lovely. They did an amazing job of it, and it totally looks completely different to what my room used to look like, and you'll see that very soon because I do that too in the house next door. So yeah, and this is she has one wall of wallpaper which is covered in cherry blossoms, which is really nice. It's kind of funny because Molly is one of those people that collects skulls, like all sorts of skull things. She's got a skeleton on her lampshade, actually. It's like one of the ones from The Sims 4, which is the paper sphere kind of ones. And yeah, it's got a skeleton printed on it. She's got two candle holders, which are like bright blue and pink skulls. She has a candle, which is a skull. She has a Jack Skellington mug. She just has a plastic skull. She's got a bunch of skulls, and I couldn't get that right in The Sims 4, Sims 3, because there isn't any. But this wallpaper actually looks dead on what we've got in the in her room. So yeah, she was on Skype with me at this point, and she was like, "You're not gonna get my room right. It's not gonna look right. It's not gonna have that Molly edge." Because Molly likes to think she's got edge. Not that she's watching this, so she won't know. But yeah, her bed is a distressed white. We repainted it when I moved out. It was my old bed. Painted it with some kind of white and did the distress look on it, and we did that with a lot of my old furniture, which is, I think, half the reason why it looks so different in there. And she also has a bookshelf in this little nook. It's kind of surrounded by a lot of like DVDs and things like that. And then in the center she has this massive wall of stuff, which is a collection of photos, all sorts of things, clippings, printouts, with a corkboard in the center. And I couldn't get that right because it's The Sims. I'm gonna keep saying it's The Sims. So yeah, and she also has this little organizer in the corner here, which is like, you know, like the plastic organizers that you can get. It's about that height, but not made of metal. And yeah, so I tried to mimic that. She also has a TV above her dressing table, chest of drawers is what I should say. And but we couldn't do that either because Sims 3, not Sims 4. And she's got a little desk over there, and she claimed the laptop as her own. It's actually my stepdad's laptop, but he never uses it anymore. And she's got a couple of like decorative boxes on the wall. We use those University Life shelves in there instead, because it was the closest thing we had, pretty much. And yeah, that's basically her room done. I forget to do the carpet at this point, but later on you will see the carpet, which is kind of a beige colour. It's not really that interesting. And then we move on to Maisie's room, which is the room I kind of stay in when I stay, which you'll understand in a moment when you see the arrangement kind of thing. I don't know what I'm working on here. I think I was showing something off, because you know what it's like being on Skype and seeing your own house in Sims, you know. But yeah, Maisie's room is kind of a blue and a white, kind of blue and a beige, I'd say. There's not really much white, it's more beige around the house. And yeah, this is where the bed comes in. She's got a bunk bed, but it's a bunk bed that has a sofa bed on the bottom. So when I'm not there, it's up as a sofa and looks really nice. And then it pulls out into like a queen size bed for when I'm there, and it actually looks pretty similar to that. And she was pretty amazed by the way that looked. And kind of the main feature of Maisie's room is she's got one of those IKEA massive, I believe it's called Expedit, shelving units that has a desk attached to it, and it's a huge desk. And this was the closest I could get to it on here. It's kind of, the shelving unit is more like squares as opposed to like a standard bookshelf. But that was kind of the closest I was going to get to it without downloading that exact thing off of like the Sims resource or something. And she's got a lot of bookshelves around everywhere else. She is an avid reader. She also collects a lot of DVDs. She's in love with 80s movies and things like that. So yeah, she's got a stunning collection of stuff. Put an Audrey Hepburn poster up there because she has a bunch of like movie posters and stuff, but she's also a big fan of Audrey Hepburn, so perfect place to put it in. And I also forgot the rug in the bathroom because I don't remember silly things like that. And she has an exercise bike there, but there's no exercise bike in The Sims 3, so we went with a weights bench. Yeah, it's kind of like become a feature of her room, so yeah, that's where it's going. And I think next up we move on to my parents' room, which probably looks the least like the room does in real life. Those little square bits with the doors in, they're actually wardrobes, but the way they're shaped didn't really work for wardrobes in this game, so I just left them. You could totally add them, I suppose. It's possible for you to add them, and yeah, so at this point I'm deliberating with my sister what my parents' wallpaper looks like in their room, and I completely didn't know what it looked like. I thought it looked completely different to what it did, apparently. So, yeah, I was under the impression for ages that it was more of a, like a, what's the word? I don't even know. But it wasn't a floral pattern. It was more of like one of the fancy patterns. That's the best I can do. But apparently it's not. Apparently it's flowers. So, yeah. And then I stick in their bed, which, we had a good laugh about because, their bed's broken. Which is quite funny. They sat on it once and it just broke. I think my stepdad was on the phone at the time as well, which is quite funny. So it's actually at the moment held up by some rope, which is quite funny. And yeah, but we couldn't get a broken bed in this game because why not? And yeah, there isn't really much to their room. It's pretty standard. There's just like a basic kind of room. I also had a fight with my sister about whether the carpet was stripy or not. It kind of is. And then I was showing off my custom content to my sister because I made some. And then this is the point where we make my old room. This is my old room, guys, and it fills me with so much nostalgia because it looks identical. It's absolutely identical, and it scares me a little bit just how identical it is. And when my mum saw it, my mum freaked out as well, because I don't know if you remember, but I had the very distinct stripes on the wall, these ones, and I remember the exact colours, luckily. And yeah, and it's weird going back to that. And yeah, because my mum actually got the bedding and the curtains, and then she was like, I'm gonna paint the stripes on the wall. So she spent forever masking taping, that sounds awful, but taping up all the lines so that she could paint them, and it looked amazing. 8-year-old me was so impressed, but like by the time I was 16 and angsty teen as I am, I just kind of was like, yeah, it's my room. It's a bit purple. And then I had that TV unit over there, which didn't look as 70s as that one does, but it was the closest I had, and yeah, I just kind of am shocked by how similar that looks. And if you've been around a while, you probably saw some of my videos from my room, and it looks so similar. And this is me giving my sister a tour of the house, I reckon, just showing it all off, and everybody getting completely like overwhelmed by how similar some of it looks, especially my room. My mum got so happy by that room because she was like, oh, I painted all that. And I was like, yes, you did, Mum. But yeah. And yeah, so just doing the outside there, I am showing it off again. I was like, I think that was the point where I was like, Molly, go get Mum. Mum needs to see this. So yeah, giving everybody tours, and I thought I'd leave it in because it gave me more time to talk about my home. But yeah, I go there less and less these days, which makes me sad, but it's gonna be the house for a long time, so yeah. And to be honest, I don't know what next doors looks like. I went in there for about 5 minutes when I was about 10, and I remember their kitchen barely, but that was about it. But we do have slightly different like slightly different walls on the outside to what they do. Ours is kind of yellow on the outside, which is a bit annoying. And we also have solar panels up on our roof, which is cool. Now, these are the cars we have. Mum has a bright red, I think it's a Hyundai, iX20, possibly. It's a pretty big car. And my stepdad has a Citroen, I believe it's a Citroen Picasso, maybe? I don't know cars well enough. I'm not at the stage where I own a car, so I'm not as up on cars as I should be. And yeah, here are the pictures. I didn't really do much with the garden because we don't really do much with the garden, and it's kind of a mess. So I kind of left it at that. These pictures feel so similar to my home. You've probably seen bits of my home around in like vlogs and things like that, and Instagram photos and stuff. So you might even see some similarities yourself, but I think the real nostalgia hit was my room, because my room hasn't been my room now for like 2.5 years. And yeah, it's kind of scary seeing it again, and in such a similar shape to the way it was as well. Yeah. But anyways, I hope you like this kind of extended build that wasn't a base game build, and I do apologise. Base game builds will be back next week, I promise. I'm gonna do this kind of series of where I grew up kind of things, kind of sparsely. There's gonna be a lot more game builds in between, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little break from base game. I enjoyed it, for obvious reasons. And yeah, if you liked it, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And thank you all very, very much for watching, and I will see you next time.